My boss mocked my accent during a big client meeting, saying loudly, "Maybe next time we hire someone who can actually speak English." The room fell silent, but he just chuckled and added, "Relax, it's just a joke. Right, sweetheart?" That night, I quietly forwarded months of his emails to legal, and when the lawsuit hit his desk, his face turned the color of ash. I wasn't even supposed to be in that meeting. That morning, I'd already handled 2 phone calls with a partner in El Paso, and I had a third Zoom call lined up with a supplier from Kansas City. But around 9:45, Marty poked his head into my office and said, "You're coming to the 10 a.m. with the Chicago guys. We need a woman in the room. Makes us look diverse." That's how he was. Subtle as a car crash. I'd been working for North Star Logistics for 3 years at that point. Started as a junior business analyst, worked my way up. I was now handling accounts worth more than some people's yearly salaries. But to Marty, I was still the girl with the accent. He never let me forget it. I grew up in Venezuela, moved here when I was 17, went to FIU in Miami, then got my MBA from UT Dallas. I speak English fluently, but my accent never left me. I used to be self-conscious about it, but after building a career in a tough industry, I got past that. Or I thought I had, until I met Marty. He made jokes. Every week. Little digs like, "Don't get spicy on me now. You people sure know how to haggle. That accent makes you sound exotic." Clients probably like that. The first time he said "you people," I thought maybe I misheard him. By the 5th time, I knew I hadn't. Still, I kept quiet. I needed the job. I was paying off my mom's medical debt and sending money to help my sister finish school. I couldn't afford to make waves. Then that meeting happened. It was supposed to be routine. Just a pitch to a freight company looking to expand its Midwest distribution. We'd been prepping for weeks. I built most of the presentation myself. I had notes, charts, numbers memorized. I knew this account better than anyone else in that room. About 10 minutes in, one of the Chicago reps asked a logistics question about rail capacity. I answered her calmly, clearly, walking her through the process. That's when Marty laughed. Loud. Like someone just told the funniest joke of the year. Then he said it, "Maybe next time we hire someone who can actually speak English." The room went quiet. You could hear the HVAC humming above us. I felt everything freeze in my body. My heart, my lungs, my thoughts. And then, he added, smiling like a maniac, "Relax, it's just a joke, right, sweetheart?" Nobody laughed. I looked across the table. Janet, the rep who'd asked me the question, was staring at me with wide eyes. Her partner, Tom, shifted in his chair and looked at the wall. Nobody said a word. Not a single person stood up for me. And Marty just sat back, proud of himself. I didn't say anything. I didn't even flinch. I made eye contact with him, then looked back down at my papers. We finished the meeting. It was awkward and tense. The Chicago team left without much small talk. Marty came to my office 2 hours later. Poked his head in and grinned like nothing had happened. "Tough crowd," he said. "But I think they liked you." I nodded. Smiled, even. Let him believe I was over it. That I'd brushed it off like I always did. But something snapped in me that day. I wasn't going to let it go this time. That night, I opened a folder I'd kept hidden in my personal Google Drive. Screenshots. Recordings. Forwarded emails. Notes I'd taken after specific comments or incidents. For months, I'd quietly documented everything. Every offhand remark, every comment that made my skin crawl. He once sent me an email after I closed a big deal that said, "Didn't know your people could sell like that. Guess you're full of surprises." I forwarded it all to legal. No explanation, no introduction. Just a short message, "I believe this violates workplace conduct policy. Please advise." I didn't sleep well that night. The next morning, there was no reply. No call. Nothing. But 3 days later, HR called me in. It was quiet in that room. Cold. The kind of cold where even your fingertips feel it. They asked me if I stood by the claims. I said yes. They asked if I had any more documentation. I gave them a second flash drive. I told them I had more if they needed it. They didn't say much. Just that they would investigate. That they'd take it seriously. The next week, everything changed. Marty came into the office looking like he hadn't slept in days. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't laughing. He didn't even look at me. Word spread fast, corporate legal had flown in. A full investigation had started. People whispered in the break room, in the parking garage, even in the bathroom. Nobody knew how much I had turned over. And I wasn't finished. What I didn't expect was how people started treating me once the whispers got loud enough. Some of my coworkers kept their distance. People I'd eaten lunch with, people I'd laughed with on bad days. It was like I had a disease now. A few were nice, asked if I was okay, but most just went quiet when I entered a room. Like I was the problem. Then came the retaliation. Subtle at first. My requests for reports got delayed. My team lead stopped looping me in on calls I used to lead. Someone even changed the shared file permissions so I couldn't access a report I had built. I filed a quiet complaint with HR. They said they'd look into it. But I knew what was happening. Marty wasn't just sinking. He was dragging people down with him. He started feeding his closest guys lies about me. I overheard one of them, Kyle, talking in the hallway, saying I was playing the victim to get promoted. That I was using the race card to climb up. That I'd been planning this from the beginning. I almost threw up in the bathroom. I thought about quitting more than once. But I didn't. Instead, I started digging. Late at night, after hours, I combed through old projects. Ones I hadn't looked at in months. And I found something, actually, a few things, that didn't sit right. I had access to some old invoices and cost summaries that Marty used to review. And on at least 3 occasions, I noticed strange inconsistencies in vendor costs. Extra charges that didn't match the actual shipments. Same vendors, different numbers. Not huge amounts, but enough to raise eyebrows. I double-checked everything. Then I pulled the finance reports. More discrepancies. Then it hit me. He was skimming. Not directly, but through a fake vendor account tied to a dummy consulting firm. I traced it to a P.O. box in Garland, Texas. Found the LLC registration. The name on it? His brother-in-law. Clear as day. I almost dropped my laptop. He wasn't just a creep. He was dirty. Real dirty. I packaged everything up. Neat, labeled, time-stamped. I didn't send it to HR this time. I sent it to the internal audit team. I also blind copied the chief compliance officer. This wasn't just about jokes anymore. This was fraud. A week later, Marty didn't show up for work. Then too. His office door stayed closed. Lights off. People started talking louder. Someone saw him being escorted out by security. Another said the feds were involved. I didn't know what was true yet. But then I got called in. Not by HR, by corporate legal. And the tone this time? Different. They wanted everything. Every email, every folder, every note. I gave it to them. I left the meeting with my heart racing. It wasn't just about what he said anymore. It was what he'd been doing behind closed doors for years. And then I got the call. Not from anyone at work. From Marty's wife. She'd found my number somehow. Called me crying, asking me what was going on. Saying he wasn't coming home. That the FBI had shown up at their house. I didn't say much. just that I was sorry she was going through it. But I wasn't sorry. Not one bit. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought the fraud, the investigation, the fact that he was facing serious jail time, I thought that would be enough. But it wasn't over. Not even close. About a month after he disappeared from the office, I started getting strange messages. First on LinkedIn, then on my personal Instagram, one I never even connected to work. At first, it was random usernames. No profile pictures. Just stuff like, "You think you're safe? You'll regret this. Snake. You ruined a good man." I blocked them, one by one. But then one came through on Facebook Messenger, from a real person this time. His name was Trent. I remembered him. Marty's nephew. He'd interned with us one summer and spent most of his time flirting with the receptionist and doing exactly zero work. He said, "I know what you did to my uncle. You'll pay for it." That one shook me. I reported it. Police said there was no credible threat. HR said they were monitoring the situation. But I knew I was on my own. Then someone slashed my back tires. I was parked outside my apartment complex in Richardson. Middle of the night. I didn't even notice until the next morning when I tried to back out and the car leaned hard to the right. I got out, saw both tires shredded like paper. The mechanic said it was intentional. "Clean slice," he said. "Box cutter or hunting knife." Still, no cameras. No witnesses. And no one willing to help me beyond filling out a report. So I did what I had to do. I moved. I found a small place in Plano, changed my phone number, scrubbed all my social media, even changed my email. Told only 2 close friends where I was going. Kept working remote while the dust settled. I figured once Marty was fully prosecuted, everything would die down. But the thing is, Marty had one more move left. 6 months after I blew the whistle, just as the case against him was heating up in court, he sued me. Defamation. Libel. Emotional distress. Said I'd deliberately lied to sabotage his reputation and career, and fabricated financial documents. His lawyer, paid for by some old contacts he still had in the industry, filed the paperwork in county court and leaked parts of it to a local news blog. My name. My job title. My ethnicity. My damn accent, it was all there. I was furious. But what Marty didn't know was that legal had my back now. Fully. They hired outside counsel for me. I didn't even have to pay. And the auditors? They'd completed their investigation. The findings? Marty Jameson knowingly funneled company funds to a shell business owned by a family member between 2018 and 2023. Total theft, $417,000. Evidence, overwhelming. That report was sealed in court, but legal had a copy. My lawyer submitted it as part of the motion to dismiss Marty's suit. Marty had tried to silence me one last time. But now the court had everything. The case didn't just get dismissed, it got obliterated. And then the prosecution hit him with new charges. Money laundering. Wire fraud. Obstruction. Last I heard, he was trying to cut a deal. His wife filed for divorce. His house in Rockwall went into foreclosure. And I got a promotion. But I'm not done yet. Because during that mess, I found out 2 other women at a different company had accused him of the same kind of harassment years before, back when he worked at Black Ridge Freight in Missouri. Their claims were buried. Paid off. NDA'd and forgotten. But I'm reaching out to them now. Because this isn't just about me anymore. I found one of the women on LinkedIn. Her name was Kelsey. She worked at a logistics firm out in St. Louis now. I messaged her, not sure if she'd even respond. She did. Within an hour. We talked for over 2 hours that night. She told me everything. Back in 2015, Marty was her director at Black Ridge Freight. Same story. Inappropriate jokes, comments about her body, her clothes. He once told her, during a conference dinner, "You're too pretty to be stuck in spreadsheets. I could use someone like you on the road." When she reported it, HR made her sign a non-disclosure and gave her 3 months severance to walk away. She'd been 24. Scared. She took the money and stayed quiet. She always regretted it. There was another woman too. Jess. She'd been an admin assistant. Marty made a move on her at the Christmas party. She shoved him off. He had her fired 2 weeks later for performance issues. When I told Kelsey everything that happened to me, the fraud, the lawsuit, the fake vendors, she went quiet. Then she said, "I thought I was the only one. I thought maybe I imagined it." I told her she didn't. None of us imagined it. We decided to go public. We couldn't break the NDAs directly, but we worked with a lawyer who knew how to navigate it. One who had worked on similar cases. He helped us prepare statements that revealed enough without violating the letter of the law. The timing was right. Marty's criminal trial had gone federal, and the press was paying attention. Our story broke on a Thursday. The Dallas Morning News ran it first. Then NBC picked it up. Headlines read, "Former logistics executive under federal fraud charges now accused of years of harassment by multiple women." His photo was everywhere. That smug face. The tie-too tied around his thick neck. They showed footage of him walking into court with his lawyer, looking pale and hunched. He looked nothing like the man who once called me sweetheart in front of a room full of clients. The article quoted parts of my complaint. It included redacted versions of the emails he sent me. It even quoted the "You people" comment. His attorney tried to discredit us. Said we were bitter employees trying to ruin a man's life for attention. But it didn't work. The judge denied every motion to dismiss. The feds were building their case, and now the media was digging up everything. Every shady deal. Every former coworker he stepped on. One even came forward with proof that Marty had lied on government contracts about minority hiring just to qualify for tax breaks. It was all unraveling. Marty eventually took a plea deal. 8 years in federal prison. No parole. His house was sold. His assets frozen. His brother-in-law was charged too. The shell company? Shut down. IRS took the rest. The company? They issued a formal apology. Quietly. But it was something. Me? I stayed. For now. They offered me a director role in a different department. Bigger title. Better pay. A clean start. But the truth? I'm not a hero in this story. I waited too long to speak up. I let him humiliate me for years because I was scared. I let him mock me, touch my shoulder when he passed by, call me names in meetings. I smiled through it all because I didn't want to lose my job. I played along. But not anymore. Now I speak. Loudly. Clearly. Accent and all. When people say, "You sound different," I say, "Yes. I do. Because I am different. And I'm never staying quiet again."